Hi there, and welcome to this review of the Daily Devotionals from the 10th to the 14th of May. It was a good week. It was a good week because it reminded us that even though when the devil seems to really get in and mess stuff up, I'm looking here at what we were saying about the whole situation with Potiphar's wife and Joseph. And you see, had Joseph given in to Potiphar's wife and committed adultery with her, then ever after he would have been in her power, and that she would have been able to convince Potiphar, I'm quite sure, that Joseph had threatened her, and that unless she complied with his wishes, he would harm her or even harm her husband. So she would have got it sorted. But you see, the devil meant to bring Joseph down, and it looks as if he succeeded, because when she complains about his alleged behaviour and her husband hears his wife's story, he throws Joseph into jail, and things look really chronic for Joseph. But then we learn something very special, and that is that everything works together for good. Specifically, we can see that later on in Genesis, and we'll reach it eventually, in Genesis chapter 50, Joseph told his brothers, as far as I'm concerned, God turned into good what you meant for evil. In other words, his brothers meant it for evil when they threw him into the pit, but God rescued that situation, and that he was there taking Joseph down to Egypt as the salvation of Egypt in practical terms, because of what was to happen when the famine came upon the land. And you see, this is the whole thing, that the significance is that for us, we have this promise. It's in Romans 8:28, and we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. And that's just cool. And just at the close of the week, it's good to remember that that actually Joseph dealt with depression, because that's what the cupbearer and the baker had after they dreamt their dreams, and they didn't really know what they meant, and they were terribly dejected. In other words, they were joyless, they were depressed, disappointed, defeated, and hopeless. And that's the situation they were in, and that's a bad place to be. But you see, Joseph had plenty of opportunities to be dejected, but he'd found the antidote for depression, which was turning to God. And of course, in a way, this is where he pointed the baker and the cupbearer when he said, well, the interpretation of dreams is with God. It's a good place to leave ourselves. If you're depressed, turn to God. He's there with a ready ear to listen. God bless you, and I look forward to you joining me daily next week with the Daily Devotionals.